Hello and welcome to Fresh Face One Shots. My name is Joey,
I'm Jacob.
and we are back today with Superman by Joshua Williamson, or rather, Action Comics by Joshua Williamson. We're back with House of Brainiac, Part 3, technically Part 4, because we had a Part 2.5, but check all that out. It's been a great event, and today is no different. And today we also have a backup story in this one, which I forgot was even part of the solicits, so that's really cool to have here, and also, it's a really interesting one. So
So Joshua Williamson, this will be the second event from Williamson that we've read. Obviously, the other one being, or at least we've read from one shots. I know you've read some stuff by him.
Mm-hmm. Great writer.
Yes. I found this one great. Also, the issue 2.5, while great fun. It didn't advance the plot, and I understand why it's a 2.5.
Yeah. I mean, it's more a, it's clearly setting up future things for, like, the Superman run that Williamson is doing and for larger DC events like Absolute Power, but it happens to, like, be taking place at the same time as House of Brainiac, so that's all it is. You don't need it, but it's really good, actually. It's a really good issue on its own.
I imagine they'll probably, when they put this in trade, they'll probably collect it.
I would imagine. Yeah. But anyway, let's get into this. Action Comics 1065. Not a connecting cover this time. Although actually, I really love this cover.
I know it's technically Superman in Action Comics, but what's really nice is that we actually get a decent chunk of Kara and Connor in this one.
Yeah, it kind of seems to be like, especially with the structure of our last Superman issue and now with this Action Comics one, it almost seems like the action issues are going to be more super family focused, and the Superman will be about Superman specifically. Not that the others don't help the other issues, but like they're kind of like taking more center stage in this one.
I mean, the only thing Clark really does in this one is fight with Lobo.
Yeah, he fights some Zardians. That's about it. It's good.
Don't get me wrong. It's good action, but it's not, moving Clark's part of the story forward. It's giving. I feel like Joshua Williamson wanted to write more Super Family, so he's writing more Super Family.
Yeah, but I do like the way that he's splitting up his sort of priorities between the two titles here. It kind of actually makes it, I guess, still work for people that are like, for some reason, maybe only reading one half of the event. They should really reading the whole thing because it's been really good. So, anyway, let's jump right in. There's a great little sort of prologue scene here with Lex and Brainiac. We keep commenting on Lex's sort of betrayal here, but I don't know. I can't wait to see how. I'm assuming it's going to turn out that Lex is still secretly working in Superman's best interests in the end. I'm guessing that's how it's going to work out. And I can't wait to see how that's done.
That's the thing. It feels like it's one of those things where it feels like there's a clear attempt to put, that this is all meant to be a misdirect of some sort. Or that Lex is genuinely doing it because it's hard for me to realize I'm saying this about Lex Luthor. He actually cares about his daughter. Is at least partially some of the implication that we get throughout this. His daughter, who is kind of been sidelined in this issue, but I mean, there's only so many pages you can do. This is an issue where we do also have a backup story.
Then we catch up with Superman and Lobo fighting off the Zardians. Doesn't last for super long, but because they begin to escape. Then Lobo objecting, of course. But basically they're escaping, and Superman has a plan that we'll catch up with in a little bit. But meanwhile, we're gonna catch back up with Kara and Connor, who last time.
And honey, I've shrunk the Super Kids.
Yep. They've escaped their tubes, but they are still tiny and being hunted, or at least are aware of these sort of like doomsday pets that Brainiac has sort of like swarming his ship. Which again, I love the design of. Can't wait to see more of them going forward. But Connor and Kara then find Livewire and Parasite and make them promise to help them. So they break them out. Again, still tiny Kara and Connor this whole time. They break Livewire and Parasite out. They they find a bunch of the Brainiac, different Brainiacs on the ship. They steal all these guns from the inventory and like begin fighting them. I love the full like page that they get there when they're going after them. It's really great. But yeah, fight begins and Kara is quickly caught. And again, I love the way that Williamson writes Brainiac and Kara's relationship, in that like they have a history together and it's very aggressive on Kara's end. Brainiac is just sort of like just calm in her face, and she literally spits at him and he calls her primitive and leaves. Really, really cool.
And then Williamson decides, all right, now it's time for the twist. In that, so Brainiac's homeworld was destroyed / vanished, at least at this point in continuity, in the story they're going with. But Brainiac is a collector.
That he collected his own home planet.
Or a city on his own home planet.
Yeah.
And it's put in a bottle, and now he's letting it grow as the crown of his skull-shaped spaceship.
I am loving the scale that Williamson is like writing this event on. Like, I don't know.
I mean, this is total Silver Age craziness, right?
Oh yeah, and like, but like with the scale of like modern age comics, that like just it's great. I love it. I love seeing just Williamson go absolutely insane with this. Because yeah, Brainiac is a character that has the potential to just continue to expand and take everything over, and he's doing that very successfully here. And I love seeing that play out in all of this. But meanwhile, we go to the hardcore station, where it's a sort of seedy space station that Superman and Lobo are going to. They're trying to get information on like what Brainiac has been up to. Brainiac has apparently been going to other planets and stealing super beings from those other planets. As they like are talking to this like space cabbie this whole time, who is a small character, but I like his like page that he gets here. He's fun. And then of
course the other Zarnians show up, led by General Chakal.
Yep. And ending the main story of the issue in this.
Lobo gets his ego stroked to basically like, hey, you're great actually, but take out the Boy Scout, kill Superman. Yeah. Again, Clark's plot in this is probably the weakest aspect of the issue. It's fun. But
I think I really do think it's only because like he's going to take center stage then in the next Superman issue, and then it's going to go back and forth between the family and Superman and Lobo. So I like the way that Williamson is splitting up the priorities here. I think it's working at least.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we have a backup story here called Brainiac and Son. A shorter story, but one that I'm really fascinated by, especially because I'll be curious to see that it plays as sort of like isolated story in this issue, but it does end with a little like tagline that it's going to be continued in Superman number 14. So I'm curious to see how Williamson, if that just means that the backup continues in the next issue, or if it's like it's going to actually start to play a role in the main story at that point. I can see
it might, because isn't Brainiac's son like important for past Superman with Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes? Or is that a further descendant of Brainiac?
I think you're thinking of Brainiac 5. This is not Brainiac 5. At least I don't. So this is. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I am.
It's also, familial angst, which is
yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I shouldn't say fun. It's actually it's actually probably the darkest thing in this issue.
it's actually fairly dark, but it's a fun dark, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great little story. The whole idea is that, hey, Brainiac's not a good father, and his son hates him for it. And it seems that all the collecting is done for whatever the Brainiac Queen is going to be.
Mm-hmm. And we do sort of end this sort of backup here, revealing the mother of the son of Brainiac here. Again, I'm curious to see that's continuing in like another backup. I forget what the solicit said. I forget what it is, honestly. But
we will find out in a week or two.
Yeah, I think it's next week actually, or maybe I'm wrong. No, probably 2 weeks actually. But yeah, that was Brainiac and Son, and as such, that was Action Comics 1065. We are now 3, technically 4 issues into House of Brainiac, about halfway through.
This is about halfway. Yeah, it feels about halfway. My only concern is with the alternating of the issues. I'm like, okay, is Williamson going to be able to pull off the ending? Unless this ends up becoming more of a launch point into what's coming next.
I mean,
Superman.
I can guarantee that the Queen Brainiac thing is not going to get wrapped up in this, because that's an Absolute Power thing.
Okay, so
because they've advertised her as being part of that.
Interesting.
So I think we'll wrap up the Legion of Brainiacs thing going on. Or actually, no, that's wrong, because in the House of Brainiac special, the Council is the Council of Light, and they're part of Absolute Power. So honestly, this might just be one big lead up to Absolute Power.
This might just be a prelude to a bigger event.
But also, we do know that, like, you know, the next Superman issue after the House of Brainiac event is directly tying into Absolute Power, so he's still sort of keeping it, like, in-house with that. But Absolute Power, as far as I can tell, is also playing on the failsafe stuff from the current Batman title, which will be interesting. So I'll be curious to see how that all comes together. And I think also kind of bouncing off of Beast World when it comes to Amanda Waller, at least. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to see how, whatever we're doing with that, we'll figure it all out. Trust me, we have time.
I should also say, before we end this episode, it's not technically part of the issue, but there is a nice little 2-page tribute to Ramona Fradon.
Oh yes, that is how sad for this issue.
Yes,
yeah,
that is. It's very nice. It's almost like its own little mini story tribute. So it's very sweet.
Yeah. Really, really great stuff. Always love it. Anyway, I guess that about does it. Thanks everyone. If you enjoyed this video, check out other Fresh Face one-shots that we do. We've been covering, obviously, Superman by Joshua Williamson.
Which I just checked. That will be next week.
Cool. Oh, cool. Awesome. I will not complain. Tom King's Wonder Woman as well, and Batman the Brave and the Bold by Various. We just had a fantastic issue recently. It was great. So check that out. And then check out the main podcast, Fresh Face Comics. We're covering, we're continuing our Green Lantern by Jeff Johns coverage. We have Blackest Night coming up soon. It's going to be really fun. And then afterwards, something different. Another little DC block there. So check all that out. And also our socials will be linked in the description below. You can check us out there, or if you want to follow us. And I guess that about does it. So thanks so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan.
And Jacob Licklider.
And goodbye.
Goodbye.